Welcome back. So a couple weeks ago, I was talking with a friend of mine, and we ended up talking about New Year's resolutions. And through the course of that conversation, it occurred to me that I didn't really know the history of how this practice came to be. And so after looking it up, I found it even more fascinating that this actually started about 2000 BC during the Babylonians, where they had a 12-day festival that happened in March. And this was the beginning of their growing season for their crops. And so they were making resolutions about their crops and crowning a new king and making promises to return the borrowed farm equipment and paying their debts. Years later, it ended up getting adopted by the Romans around 46 BC. And what they did was they had changed the calendar. They put us on the Julian calendar and added the month of January. And with January 1st, that was the day they decided was the beginning of their year. And so that's when they started making their promises and their resolutions. And throughout the course of time, each culture has taken this practice and adapted it for their own needs and practices. This is what leads us to our practice today of making New Year's resolutions, promises that we make to ourselves to make some changes that we wish and that we desire, but most of us know are just lies because most of us don't follow through. The statistics say that about 39% actually make a New Year's resolution. But the problem is that within the first 2 weeks, about 23% fail. And about 36% don't make it past a month. But the good news is that 9% do actually follow through with the change that they've desired. Another thing that I found interesting about all of this is I found a list of the resolutions that people made 75 years ago, which aren't that different than the things that we make our resolutions about. And so I pulled up a list of these resolutions. And so let's just go over a few of these. So the number one resolution 75 years ago was to improve my disposition, be more understanding, control my temper. Number 2 was improve my character, live a better life. Number 3 was stop smoking or smoke less. Number 4 was save more money. Number 5, stop drinking or drink less. Number 6 was be more religious, go to church more often. Number 7 was be more efficient, do a better job. Number 8 was take better care of my health. Number 9, take a greater part in my home life. And number 10, obviously, lose weight. So 75 years ago, we haven't gone that far. So according to the statistics that I found, today's top ones are the ones that we're going to kind of focus on and talk about these changes that we want to make. The problem I end up finding with some of this stuff is that in these changes, it's almost as if we have the desire to do something, to make this change, but we tend to leave it just there at the desire. We have a bad habit sometimes of not being able to follow through. Sometimes it's because we end up making the change too big for us to tackle or to be able to do, and so therefore we end up setting ourselves up for failure. Now this is one of the things that you got to keep in mind, that every bad habit you've adapted. It was a change that you brought into your life that became a habit, that became who you are. So with that, any one of these things you want to change is easier to do, knowing that the habit you're trying to change wasn't always you. And so the number one resolution that we have, or that we tend to make, is to exercise more. We could all stand to lose a little weight or to get in better shape. With the modern day diet, we all tend to kind of suffer from a few extra pounds, and especially as we start getting older. It's just kind of par for the course. A lot of us will think we're going to join a gym, and that, well, if I join that gym and I spend that money, well, then I'm going to go. But see, you've added in extra steps into all of that. You've added in those steps of having to go somewhere and to do something. If you want to exercise more, I feel that the best way to start doing that is just by going for a walk. Go take a walk, when you've got the opportunity. Don't take the elevator, climb the steps. Just go walk around your neighborhood for 5 or 10 minutes. Just go take a morning stroll, an evening stroll. There's all kinds of ways to start by putting more exercise into your life, and with that little bit, then you can build upon it. And that's really, I think, one of the keys to being able to make these changes. I know some people, they like to go out and buy all new exercise equipment or new exercise clothes, and they think that that's going to help motivate them, when in turn that stuff just either ends up in a pile or it's collecting dust in some room. And so I think that, by going and walking, that is actually probably one of the better ways for you to be able to go do. It's a low impact way to be able to add more exercise into your life. You can even use some free weights, like when you're sitting there watching TV. There's all kinds of things that you can do that are kind of small and simple, and once you get that small and simple, then you can build upon it. See, the key to any change that you're going to do in your life is really about making it to where it is who you are, that it's beyond your second nature. And how this is all done is really by first having the intention, which you already have. That's why you made the resolution. And so then the second thing is by following through with that intention, by ended up making it part of your behavior, part of what it is that you're just doing throughout the course of your day. And then with that change then becomes a habit. And with that habit, you just keep practicing that habit every day, and then it ends up becoming and turning into just your second nature and who you are. It's just part of the program that you run on. And as we're going to continue to always talk about, most of us run on a program of an autopilot. And so if you can get this put into that, well, then that makes this so much easier, because, I'm just going to go for a walk, or I'm just going to take the steps. You're not even going to think twice about it. You're just going to do it. And so the second most common resolution that we tend to end up making is to eat healthier. And so, this is another one that we try to go and change too suddenly. We like the foods that we like, and these foods have been designed for us to like them, and that's one of the problems. And so the best way to go about doing this first is by just adding some extra healthier things into your meals, to cut back on the amounts that you're eating, and to cut back on the sweets or the treats or the extra things that are really the things that are keeping the weight on. Now, I suggest that first off, that you don't try to do all of this throughout every single one of your meals. Just do it for one meal a day. And then, you do that for a little while, and then you add in to the next meal. Then you end up adding it in to, you start doing it for a second meal or to a third meal, until finally you have changed everything that you normally would have eaten to the new healthier foods that you were going to be eating. And it all just takes time. You've got to first break that habit. You got to break that pattern, and you got to break your desire for those certain foods. And you got to understand, those foods were modified in order to get you to want to eat them and to eat more. So the third thing that most people put on their resolution list, or that they do, is to lose weight. And that goes right back with the eating healthier, and it goes back with exercising more. You get those first two in check, and the losing weight is just going to happen. And you're going to be able to lose the weight, and by changing what you're eating and by exercising more, you'll be able to keep that weight off. So all three of those things really are tied in together. But when you try to make all these changes too quickly or too suddenly, that's where you end up failing. Small steps. Remember, you're building a path, and a path isn't always just laid out there for you. You have to place the stones down one at a time in order to build the path that you're going to walk on. And that's all these are. These are just simple little changes that build that path. So the next thing that's on the list, which is the number 4 thing that most people put on resolutions, is to make more money. And this one isn't never really about making more money. What this really is about is learning how to save more money. And we might go over this later on about money and about how to save more. But the main thing is that what you need to do is you start looking at what it is that you are spending, and basically reduce that amount of the money that you are wasting. So wherever that money is, if it's eating out, stay home, eat in, cook a meal. The food's going to be better for you. And this all ties back to the first 3 things. You're going to lose weight, you're going to eat healthier, and it's going to help you with your exercise. You got to understand, when you eat bad foods, your body suffers and hurts from that. And so if you put healthy foods in, it's going to be much easier for you to exercise. So all of these will work together. And the thing is about the money is that you have to cut out all of the unnecessary spending. Review all of your bills and see where it is that you can make those cuts in those bills as to where you are overspending on things, and renegotiate some of these deals. Lots of these places that you are paying, they offers to new subscribers or new customers, but won't offer it to you if you've been there for a while. And so you need to go back and reevaluate those and renegotiate some of those to start making those cuts in that, and that can lead to more money that you can save. I'd suggest to you, if you don't already, have a couple of different accounts. Have a basic operating account, have a savings account, and then have a doesn't exist account. And keep all the money that you need to be able to pay the monthly bills in the operating account. And anything that's above that, divide it up amongst those other 2 accounts. The one account is going to be the rainy day account, and then the other account is money that doesn't exist. And with that, you will start being able to save. The first bit of saving money takes a little bit. The first like $50 to the $100, and from the $100 to the $500, and the $500 to $1,000. Each one of these plateaus, and you'll be fascinated by like how quickly all of this can start adding up. And the best thing is that once you remove that money out of the money that you're operating out of, the money doesn't exist anymore, and you don't really need it. And that's really the best way to make more money. Because once you've got that money that you've got in savings, the only true way to make more money isn't by getting a better paying job. Because you will still spend that money like you're currently spending the money at the job you're working. But once you have that extra money, is you take that money and you invest it. You let that money work for you. And that's the only way to make money, or to make more money. And so the next thing that people like to do is pursue a career ambition. If you have a passion to do something, or if you have a desire to do something that you aren't currently doing, whatever that may be, I suggest that you look into it. You go and you start studying it. You start getting whatever it is that you need to be able to make those steps forward. You go and take a class. You start watching YouTube and learn how to be able to do it that way, like you're doing now. Pick up a book, read the book, and and just work on it on your own pace, and then start building up your your sets of strengths, building up your sets of knowledge, and from there go after that ambition that you've got. If it's within the same field and you're just looking for a better job, always be applying and looking for another job. Life is a funny thing, is that once you put that intent out there and you start going after whatever it is that you're looking for or wanting, if you actually put the intent out there and you focus on that intent, and then you start actually putting that intent into motion, into action, then things will start coming your way and opportunities will open up. It's happened to me many of times, and I know it's going to happen to you as well. It probably has already happened to you, whether you've realized it or not. So the next thing that people like to make a New Year's resolution on is spending less time on social media. Ooh, yeah, then you wouldn't be here watching me. Nah, they're talking about Facebook and they're talking about all those other sites. They're talking about our addiction to the social media and to our endless need to keep scrolling. I'm just as bad and guilty as that as anybody. But that would never be one of my resolutions. Next one is people want to take up a hobby. That goes back to that ambition. The other ones they've got listed on here is to cut down on drinking. Alcohol's a poison. It's also a depressant. If you are at a point to where you feel that you are drinking too much, or that you have to actually make a resolution to cut back on it, yeah, I'd take heed of that, and I would start working at cutting back on it. It's one thing if you're just enjoying a couple of beers, a couple of drinks, out socially or with friends or whatever sometimes. But if your desire is to actually limit the amount, start listening to that, because that there is going to flow right back through every one of the rest of these. It's going to change your ambition to go get another job. It's going to help you save more money that you're not wasting on the alcohol. It's going to make you a better person, a more productive person. It's going to make you lose weight. It's going to make you healthier, which then in turn you'll end up exercising more. It's funny, after reading this list, how many of all of these basically they all just tie right in together. You do the one, and then it ties right through all the way across the string, even if it's not one that you would have made. The next one that they have listed here is to renovate part of your house. That's always a good idea if that's what you want to do, and you have a house that needs some renovations, or you just want to spruce it up. It makes you feel better when the environment that you call home is comfortable and it feels right to you, which that makes you once again, you can tie that right through all the rest of those. I really do believe that your home, when you look at your home is a good reflection of how your life is. If your home is a mess, or there's things there that you don't like, that translates into the way that you're handling yourself, the way that you handle other people and situations, the way that you perform at your job. It just goes across the board for everything that you do in your life. If your house is out of order, so is your life. And so doing a renovation, I think that's a great thing if that's what it is that you would want to do. And it also ups the property value of the house. So, there's never anything wrong with doing that. The next one that people like to make a resolution on here says spend more time with family. And that is so important. Your family is the thing that is the glue. They are the people that know you. They may judge you. We judge everybody. Families are a little bit harder on each other than they would be on strangers. But they are your solace. And, spending more time with them is always a good way to make sure that you stay in check, that you stay in balance. I think that's, a beautiful thing all the way around. Um, you know, just being with your family helps energize you. Um, I think, that's always a good resolution. Next one is do charity work. Well, I see this one listed a lot in these lists, and I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on this. I mean, if that is your desire to help others, I think that's a great thing. That's the whole purpose of this program, this show, the book. This is what this is all about, is helping others. I do believe, though, when they're saying charity work, they're talking more about getting involved in community projects and things in that nature. And a lot can come from that. The thing is that when you put yourself in those good deed places and in doing those kinds of actions, all of that stuff all comes back. Not only does it come back to you, but it also opens up doors and opportunities. The opportunities are there with the people that you end up meeting and interacting with. It's the energy that you end up carrying with you. So there's never anything wrong with that. And if that is one of your resolutions that you have made, look and find ways to be able to give back. I'm always a firm believer that you should always want more for others than you want for yourself. And so helping other people out is always the best plan. It's always the best course of action, because in that is where opportunity lies. The next thing that they have on this list is to give up smoking. Well, smoking's a bad habit. It has gone down a lot over the past 10 years, to where there's not as many smokers, and a lot of places kind of ban smoking or limit your smoking and stuff. There's nothing healthy that really comes from smoking. It's just a habit. And if you feel like, you want to quit, then listen to what it is your desire is and follow through with it. There's no quick and easy way to just go ahead and quit, except quit. The last thing that people like to make a resolution on is to raise money for a charity. That one I found kind of odd because, that one sort of ties back to the do more charity work. But like I said, there's never anything wrong with ever putting yourself out there and helping others. Give of your time to others, whether that just means talking to somebody, talking to a stranger, smiling. Smiling is one of the most powerful things that you can do, and it can change somebody else's day without you actually really having to do much of anything. You stop and, when you're in the grocery store and you're walking around, and somebody's just kind of standing there and they're staring at something, go talk to them for a couple of seconds just to acknowledge them. That right there can change a person's day. Just the fact that, not everybody's just passing them by like they're just invisible. And we've all felt that. We've all felt times where we felt like we were alone, even though we're surrounded by all kinds of people. Because no one's paying any attention to you, they're ignoring you or whatever. And, give of yourself and your time. That is always the way to be. I'm telling you, making that change in somebody's day and doing it without asking for anything in return is the best thing you could always do. Always. So with that, let's just go ahead and wrap this one up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this video and to like this video. Use the comment section. Write comments down there. List other topics you would like to talk about. Come and join the community. And together we can help. That's what this is all about. Remember, this is all about reframing the self-help thought to we help. And that's what we are here to do. We are all here to help each other. And so with that, take care.